Every single box in this chart represents a week of your life if you live till 90, but the average life expectancy is only around 77. And if you were 18, you would only have this much time left. And that's if you get lucky and don't randomly die. The truth is we have such little time on this planet that's not even guaranteed, and even less of it when we're young and healthy. So you start to wonder, how should I live my life? What is the meaning of all of this? Does anything even matter, since in the end we're all going to be dead and millions of years from now the sun's going to explode and turn into a black hole and just swallow everything up? The meaning of life is quite literally the most important question you could ever answer. It's something that I've thought about deeply for years, and I think I finally arrived at a good practical answer. And I'm not saying that I've found the meaning to life. I'm just a human like you, because if you actually think about it deeply enough, it's like, how is this all even possible? You're not supposed to think about it super deeply, otherwise it's just like too overwhelming. First, I want to start with a story about my journey with this question, because the rest of this video wouldn't really make sense if I didn't share it. I started thinking deeply about the meaning of life back in like 8th or 9th grade, can't remember exactly when, it was sometime around there, but I just couldn't help and look around me and notice the things we were being told on how to live our life, and how everyone was just doing the same thing. Go to school, get good grades, go to college, get even more good grades, then get a job, and then climb your way up the corporate ladder, find someone to settle down with, start a family, save and invest till retirement, and then at the ripe age of 60, you can finally enjoy life. And this never made sense to me. It just seemed like everyone was being told how to live their life and what they should value, and it seemed that everyone was just surviving and not actually living. But even then I thought, well, it's not the absolute worst thing. At least you have a family and you have some money coming in. But that answer just still didn't seem right to me, and I wanted to find the truth behind life, not only so I could live the best life possible, but because I felt obligated to find the truth, because my name Satya translates to truth and derives from Sanskrit. As I went through high school, I kind of just stopped thinking about this question more because it was so overwhelming and I was just a kid. I just started focusing on putting on more muscle, getting better at football, and just having fun, which honestly, looking back at it now, I don't really have any regrets for it. But then during my senior year of high school, I just got hit with the biggest existential crisis ever, all because I just continued to avoid the truth. The truth behind the meaning of life and how to live a good one. The truth of what I wanted from life and not what anyone else told me what I should want. It was quite literally the worst time of my life. I was so unbelievably depressed and anxious and had so many dark thoughts. I had no energy. I could barely get myself to get in the shower and just brush my teeth and not stay in bed all day. Every time I would look in the mirror, I would cry. It was like impossible to hold back the tears. And I didn't know what I wanted or who I was anymore, or what the fuck this crazy thing called life meant. Everything got so bad that I really wanted to take my own life, but I didn't have the balls to go through with it, which I'm very glad that I didn't. But all I could think is that I'd rather be dead than alive right now, and life is fucking horrible. And I say this not because I want sympathy, believe me. That's not what I want at all. I'm actually very grateful for all the suffering that I went through, which I'll make a point on that later on in this video. But because of all the shit that I was going through, I had a choice that I could either just end it all, or I could just search and search deeply for the truth within and around me to understand what the meaning of life is. And that's when I started to realize that the first piece of the puzzle of the meaning of life is to question the meaning of life. It's a paradoxical question. I realized that you have to question what you want your life to mean and what you want to attribute meaning to, and not just to attribute meaning to things that other people tell you should value, like money and getting a good job. But it's funny because there's so many people that go through life and don't actually even question what the meaning of life is. They literally just drift through life and distract themselves with pleasure and instant gratification and just do what they've been told to do. This was a good start to understand life, but that answer just obviously wasn't enough for me. So I searched harder for answers and questioned the world even more, because I knew if I didn't, I would never get out of the shitty place that I was in. So I started to self-educate myself through all the books, podcasts, videos that I could get my hands on, and I started to meditate and journal more so that I could search for answers within myself and in the world around me. And through all this suffering, I started to realize something. Life isn't about happiness and pleasure like most people think it is. Life is about life, about experiencing everything there is to it, including all the pain and suffering. Because the truth of life is that there is no light without dark. There's no good without evil. There can't be the highs without the lows. Just imagine how boring a movie would be if the main character never went through any kind of pain and suffering. Seeing them overcome all that pain is the best part of it. And without it, how would they even be able to truly grow? In that pain and suffering is where all the lessons are learned. They are the greatest teachers in life, and without it, you would never be able to become the best version of yourself. The realization that suffering will always exist and that you're meant to experience it gave me so much hope. What I kept telling myself was that I may not realize it right now, but through this suffering, there are lessons that I'm meant to learn and grow from. Not only did I realize that you're meant to experience suffering and not chase pleasure, I realized that the most important thing you can do in life is to figure out what you want to suffer for. The scary but beautiful thing about life is that you get to choose the answer to this question. But choose something that's actually worth suffering for, not some basic ass goal like everyone else fucking has, like, ooh, I want to be rich and live in a mansion and have a private jet. Like, it's such a selfish and small-minded goal, and most of them don't even know why they want it. Well, they're not aware of it. The reason they want it is for the approval of other people, but they're also not willing to suffer for that. They just say they want it. I know you're probably thinking, I don't know what I want to suffer for. Stick with me, I'll get to an answer to that soon. But first, I want to talk about what makes something worth suffering for. What makes someone willing to go through pain for something? I don't know about you, but the first thing that comes to my mind is a parent struggling to make ends meet. They work a job they hate, maybe even multiple of them. They're sleep deprived. They're probably not eating as much as they should be, or even the right foods. But to them, that doesn't matter because all they want to do is provide for their family. They're willing to do anything for them. They're able to go through all this suffering because they have love in their heart. They have love for something that's greater than themselves, because you can't truly suffer for something if there's not love in your heart. Not only should this be about your family, but it should also be about a mission or purpose that's greater than yourself. And I use both of these in my life. I don't have a family just yet, but a big thing for me is I don't want my kids to go through the suffering that I went through. And I just want to make sure that my kids get a life that I wish I had. And not only that, but this YouTube thing is my purpose and mission in life. I want to share all the lessons I've learned through the struggle and pain and make sure that other people don't go through the shit that I went through. I literally would not want to wish it on my worst enemy. It's going to take a while for this thing to truly work out. I'm really going to have to delay the gratification. I'm going to have to overcome a lot of struggles and failures, but it's a lot easier for me to do that because it's greater than myself. I'm doing it out of a place of love, while someone else that's doing YouTube for selfish reasons, it's going to be harder for them to deal with the suffering. Have you ever heard the saying that, oh, this food was made with love and that's why it tastes so good? Maybe your mom said that, or some family member. I don't fucking know. Maybe you saw it in a movie. It's the idea that something becomes so good because it was made with love. Not only do you want to have this thing worth suffering for, your family, mission, purpose, whatever, you also need to find something that you want to create out of love. It doesn't necessarily have to be your mission or purpose. It can be something on the side, but ideally it needs to be intertwined. It has to be some kind of art, like, I don't know, cooking, painting, even woodworking if that's what you want. You want to create art for the sake of creating art. And there's a great book on this that you should totally read. I need to reread it because it's just so good. It's called The Creative Act, A Way of Being. It's by Rick Rubin, who was a producer for a bunch of top artists. Humans are meant to create and build things. We've been doing it ever since the day we've been born. We feel our best when we're building something and progressing not only ourselves, but humanity. But you still might be thinking to yourself, well, I don't know what I want to suffer for. I don't know what kind of art I want to create. And that's totally understandable. It took me years to figure out what I actually wanted to do. I even had to take a gap year after my first semester at college because I had no idea what the fuck it is that I wanted to do, and I didn't want to be like everyone else who just went to college mindlessly because they were told to do so. Back in high school, all I wanted to do was put on more muscle and not be skinny and get better at football, mainly because I just wanted to stop getting shit on all the time for how skinny I was and how shit I was at football. But that's what I attributed meaning to at that time in my life. It's what I wanted to suffer for. And looking back at it now, I realize that you're not supposed to have everything figured out at 15, 18 even, and have some big mission in life. Instead, what you're supposed to do is to just get better, but specifically get better by seeking the truth that's within and around you, which isn't gonna make sense at first, but let me just explain my point. Like I said earlier, a lot of people made fun of me for being skinny and shit at football. I mean, I weighed at 110 pounds my freshman year, and I was the worst on the JV team. I didn't get a second of playing time, but I was in complete denial. At some point, I had to face the truth of my situation and who I was. And what I realized was that they weren't wrong at all. I was skinny and I was shit at football. And the thing about the truth is that it can be harsh. It was harsh for me to face the fact that I was skinny. Facing the truth is what makes you get better, no matter how painful it might be. So in doing so, of facing the truth that was inside of me, understanding who I actually was, I started to seek the truth for answers, how to put on more muscle and how to get better at football. I was able to put on 60 pounds of muscle, and I ended up being elected for an all-star team, which I quit anyway, so it doesn't fucking matter. But the point I'm trying to make is this: you don't need to have some big mission in life right now. All you need to focus on doing right now in the present moment is get better by seeking the truth. Because even though we will all die someday and you'll be dead and everything else will just cease to exist, it's the suffering in pursuit of the truth that is worth living for. It's quite literally what humanity has been doing since the day of its existence. But most importantly, you want to do all of this with the most loving heart possible, so that you can be the best human being possible. And that's exactly why I'm on a mission to create more truth seekers. I mean, shit, dude, I feel obligated to do so when my name means truth. And honestly, this isn't something I can fully explain in this video, because otherwise it would be too long. Like, I could probably talk about this for like 2 hours, just like nerding out completely, just fucking running my mouth. I truly believe that if you want to become the best version of yourself, you have to become a truth seeker. And I'm going to be posting more of what this means on my channel and just sharing everything I learn and do as someone that's trying to become their best self by seeking the truth. Everything about health, fitness, psychology, philosophy, the list really goes on. And I don't know about you, but I think this is a good video on what the meaning of life is. I don't know, just let me know in the comments below. Share, please please share your thoughts with me, because I'm just a fucking human being. I don't have all the answers to everything. So if you have different perspectives on the meaning of life, please just let me know in the comments below. So if you want to become the best version of yourself by becoming a truth seeker, just click the big red button, the subscribe button. That's what I was trying to say. That's all from me, and I'll see you in the next one.